Yesterday, CNN wrote an entire piece predicting the president would be shocked that he can't eat steak and burgers while in India. It's so absurd. Not only is it absurd, it's bad for the country over time. CNN has dozens of anchors and highly paid expert analysts and some smart people, by the way, who work there. And this is what they talk about for 3 years running. What does that tell you? It tells you they can't be trusted with positions of public trust. And in a crisis, that actually matters. These people ought to resign today because it's actually degrading our public conversation, it's making us dumber, and it's blinding us to what the real threats are. It's obvious to the rest of the world. It's not obvious to us, in part because our media is so stupid and so far up their own butts that they can't see how the world is changing. Author and columnist Mark Steyn joins us tonight to assess the state of all of this. So, Mark, as you gaze around the globe at the imminent threats pressing in on us, where would you rate Russian memes on that list?
I would rate them very low. Along with the threat that Trump will give Alaska to Putin, he'll give Vermont to Justin Trudeau long before he does that, and that's win-win for everyone. Yes. But actually, I would slightly disagree with you, Tucker, that this demonstrates the triviality of CNN. In actual fact, something rather profound is going on here. As you know, an obsession with dangerous jokes used to be a sign of totalitarian societies. Milan Kundera wrote an excellent novel about it called The Joke, about a student whose entire life is ruined by telling a joke that fails to meet the favor of the Communist Party. And that's actually what's going on here. If you actually listen to what all that tripe about memes using humor to advance problematic ideas, and the Russians must be behind that. Do you realize what they're saying? CNN is advancing the proposition that enjoying a laugh means you're being manipulated by the Kremlin. This is actually completely idiotic.
And it's also totally corrosive to the country. I have to ask, and this is not atop the list of important things, but I just can't control myself. Joe Biden is claiming on the campaign trail on at least 3 separate occasions that he was arrested in South Africa during apartheid. Watch this.
This day, 30 years ago, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison and entered into discussions about apartheid. I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robben's Island.
One of the most saintly guys I ever knew, because I got arrested trying to see him when I went down to South Africa. Nelson Mandela.
I came back from South Africa trying to see Nelson Mandela and getting arrested for trying to see him on Robben's Island. He was in prison.
Is that true? Well, Biden's own 2007 memoir never mentions being arrested in South Africa trying to see Nelson Mandela, and someone who was traveling with him at the time doesn't remember it either. One of Corn Pop's long-lost relatives, Mark Steyn, is still with us. Mark, were you there when he was arrested trying to visit Nelson Mandela?
I was there when Biden was arrested trying to see Mahatma Gandhi. Apparently, Mahatma Gandhi didn't want to swim nude in the pool with Joe in front of the Secret Service agents, so Joe lent him a loincloth he'd made himself. All these stories are quite interesting because all these fantasies of him want to place him at the center of world events. It's like when Amy Klobuchar ran into trouble the other night for forgetting the name of the Mexican president, and Joe Biden immediately said, I'm the only person on this stage who has met the guy who was the Mexican president, and I met whoever it was who was the Mexican president before that, and the guy who was the Mexican president before the guy who was the Mexican president who was the guy before the Mexican president. It is a slightly perplexing thing that an irrelevant man wants to place himself at the center of world historical events. And in some subtle way, these pitiful fantasies actually tell you why he's running for president.
Well, it's so sad. He was the vice president. I mean, he went to the funerals of foreign dictators, but that's it. Right. Mark Steyn, so great to see you as always. Thanks for kicking off the week.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.